Hey everyone, welcome back to the Redcat University. Today we're going to install another Proline body on the Gen 8 platform. This body is the Proline Ford F-250 and we have the back half cage. Now this isn't a direct bolt-on. You're going to have to do a little custom work to the body to get it to fit, but we've tried to do our best to limit the number of tools that you're going to need. And because this is a custom install, this isn't going to be our typical video where we show you step by step. Today we're just going to do some hand modeling to show you some of the things that we did in order to help you fit this body onto your Gen 8. Alright, first up you're going to need some tools. You're going to need a 2mm hex driver for some of the hardware. You're going to need a 050 driver for some of the Proline body hardware. You're going to need a detail pen or a marker in order to mark up some of the spots on where you're going to have to drill holes. You're going to need some standard tools like a pair of cutters, some scissors, an X-Acto knife, and even some hardware and some magnets to get this body on this truck. We'll of course put a list of tools and hardware that you're going to need in the description below, and now let's move on to how we mounted up this body. First up, we went and cut out the F-250 body using our X-Acto knife and our straight scissors. Basically, we needed to cut it out in order to test fit where it's going to go. Once the body was all cut out, we moved on to assembling our rear cage, and this is a process that will take a few minutes in order to get all the screws to secure the deck and all the rails together. But once that's assembled, you could go ahead and drill the holes where it mounts to the body and then secure the cage to the body itself. Once our body set was assembled, we went ahead and positioned the body on the chassis where we wanted it to sit. Now the main area we focused on was the wheel well here to make sure that the front wheel sits in that well. Once we did that, the back half of the body was up a little bit, but we were able to determine that the body post holes would go in this general location right here. Once that was figured out, we did go and turn our attention to the rear of the vehicle, where we noticed we had to cut out the top plate in order for the shock towers to clear. Here's a close-up of where we cut out the deck in order for the shock towers to clear. We simply used a pair of Lexan scissors in order to cut this out, and of course you could go ahead and make it much more neat by using a Dremel tool, but again we wanted to use very simple tools in order to get this cut out and mounted properly. The trimming continued with cutting out the stock rear body mount assembly here. So what we did was we notched this out in order to clear the rear deck. Once we cut out this part of the mount just using our cutters and our X-Acto knife, we went ahead and mounted our magnets to the top of that mount, and we just used the factory holes to secure the magnets using 3mm flathead screws. Once these magnets were secured, we simply stacked more magnets until it reached the top of the deck. Once the magnets were at the top of the deck, we used our marker to mark where the magnets were on the deck, and we just simply slid it up through the bottom of the chassis. Using the marks made with the marker, we placed the magnet back onto the deck and mark where the hole needed to be drilled for the screw that secures the magnets to the deck. After the holes were drilled, we simply ran long screws and locking nuts up through the fuel cell part of the deck. Now we're able to simply drop the body onto the chassis, and the rear magnets secure the rear of the body in place. We'll of course use body clips for the front. We then decided to use the lower part of the cage as well. We did need to go and cut off the end of the bracket in order for it to clear the shock tower. We could still place our spare tire in the back of the vehicle for a custom look. Other modifications we chose to make were cutting off the floor pans in the back in order for it to have a clean look. And we also cut off the back of our battery tray, and we're going to use a shorty battery for a more finished look. You can cut out the rear of the body and have the battery extend out into the back of the bed, but again we chose to shorten our battery tray and use a shorty pack to give the truck a more scale appearance. And there you have it, the Proline F-250 and back half cage mounted up on the Gen 8 chassis. We gotta admit, this looks pretty cool, and it should only take a few hours on the workbench to complete this body setup. Again, a list of items used in this particular build will be found in the description below. While you're there, please hit that subscribe button and the notifications bell, and we'll see you back soon for another Redcat Racing how-to video.